Hey, Wagwan, it's Mr. Garfield here, and today we'll be looking at a January 2020 enlargement question, right? This is on the January 2020 paper 2, okay? And we're dealing with transformations, and that is in section 8 of the syllabus, that is geometry and trigonometry, all right? The question says a quadrilateral PQRS and its image P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime are shown on the grid below. All right. Now this is not the actual image of the question, right, from the paper. I was the one who put the coordinates or the polygons into my mathematics software and put the image here, right? Because the image that I had in the paper was actually a bit blurry, so you wouldn't have seen it clearly. All right. So we're given this here, and it says to write down the mathematical name for the quadrilateral PQRS. Part 2 says PQRS is mapped onto P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime by an enlargement with scale factor K about the center CAB. Using the diagram above, determine the values of A, B, and K. Okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is for part 1, we're going to look at the diagram given and write down the mathematical name for it. Okay, and then for part 2, to determine the center and the scale factor K, I'm going to use my mathematics software and guide you through the process. All right, so before we get started, please ensure to like up the video, all right, and don't forget to comment down below once we are finished. Okay. All right. So the first part of the question says we are to determine or write down the mathematical name for the quadrilateral PQRS. All right. We know it's a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides in total, right? But what type of quadrilateral is this? Well, if you observe the diagram carefully, this is going to be a quadrilateral, right? It's going to be a quadrilateral, but the type of quadrilateral is a trapezium, right? It's going to be a trapezium. So that's a simple 1 mark for you to gain in the examination. So let me write it down here. So part 1, solution, it is a trapezium, right? Trapezium. Good. So that's the first part of the question here. Okay? Now, part 2 says PQRS is mapped onto P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime by an enlargement with scale factor K, all right, about center C, A, B, using the diagram above, determine the values of A, B, and K. All right, so I'm now going to move to my other screen. All right, I'm going to use my mathematics software and we're going to look at the diagram on the graph, okay, and I'll guide you as to find how to find the center of enlargement and the scale factor. So let me just share my screen quickly. Okay, good. You should be seeing my screen now, right? So this is the graph that was given, right? This should be the graph that was given in the exam, okay? And you want to find the center of enlargement, right? The center. So what we're going to do is to draw a straight line through the points, all right? So I'm going to draw a straight line through Q and Q prime. I'm going to draw another straight line through R and R prime. I'm going to draw a straight line through P prime, and S prime. All right. So let's just do that. So I already have it hidden here. So let me just show the lines. All right. So you see one line there is drawn through Q and Q prime. The other line is drawn through R and R prime. And the third line is drawn through P prime, S, and S prime. Okay, so I have 3 lines in total. Now notice where all the 3 lines intersect. They all intersect at this point here. All right, and that is our point C. So let me just bring it up. Right, that red point there, that is our point C, right? That they talk to us, about in the question, right? That is my center of enlargement. Good. So all I have to do is just read off the coordinates for that point C, all right? And then I can find my values for A and B. Okay? So the x coordinate here is a -4, okay? And the y coordinate here, if I go across, the y coordinate is a +1, right? So the coordinate C is -4, 1. Okay? Let's just write that down onto our paper here. So let me go back to it, right? Let me go back to it. Right. So you should be seeing my screen again, okay, where I have my solutions. So let us do part 2 of the question now. All right, let me put it in black again. So this is part 2, solution. Okay, so they told us that the coordinate is C, right? That is A comma B. And we had just stated that the coordinate for C is -4, right? And 1. -4 on the x-axis, 1 on the y-axis. Okay, good. So what can we now say here? I can now say that A equals -4, right? Remember they asked us to find the values of A, B, and K. I can now say that the value of A is a -4, and I can now say that B here has a value of 1. Okay, so B is equal to 1. Good. So we have now found the values for A and B. Now let us go back to the diagram and find the value of K. Okay? So we're going to look at the diagram now and find the value of K. So you should be seeing my screen again. All right? Now, how would I find the value of K? So let me just hide these lines here so that you don't get confused. All right? I want to find the value of K, that is my scale factor. Okay, so the value of K, there are really different ways that we can find it depending on what you're given in the question, right? You're given the graph with the coordinates, so you will know how to find the scale factor. So the scale factor is going to be equal to the length of one side, right? The length of one side of the image divided by the length of the corresponding side for the object, right? Meaning that I can say that the value of K is equal to the length of the side P prime S prime divided by the length of the side PS. Okay, I could say that, all right? I could also say that the value of K is equal to the length of the side Q prime R prime divided by the length of the side QR. I could also say that K is equal to the length of the side P prime Q prime divided by the length of the side PQ. All right? And I could also say that it is equal to the length of the side R prime S prime divided by the length of the side RS. Okay? So any of those that you choose to use, you will always get the same answer. All right? So what I'm going to do is to use the length of the side P prime S prime and the length of the side PS. Okay? So just now look at the length of the side P prime S prime. Okay, how many units is this? So this is going to be 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, 5 units, 6 units. All right? So the length of this side, P prime S prime, is 6 units. And I'm going to divide that now by the length of the side PS, which is going to be how much units? 1 unit, 2 units. All right, so we have 2 units. So it's going to be 6 units divided by 2 units. All right, so that is going to be our solution. So let me go back to our paper so that we can write our solution here. All right, so you should be seeing my screen again. So this is now going to be K is equal to the value of K is going to be equal to the length of the side. So the length of P prime S prime divided by the length of the side PS. Okay, good. So K is equal to, we have just stated that the length of the side P prime S prime is 6. Okay, and we're dividing that by the length of the side PS, which is stated is 2 units. All right, so 6 divided by 2 is a positive 3. All right, yeah, positive 3 there. Good. Now you recognize that the value of K is greater than 1, right? So let me just write a note here. So note, the value of K, the value of K must be greater than 1 to be an enlargement. All right, to be an enlargement. Now, in transformations, enlargement comes under the transformation called dilation, right? And in dilation, you have 2 types, which can be an enlargement or it can be a reduction. All right. Now, I don't believe that the reduction is on the CSEC mathematics syllabus, right? They just test on the enlargement. Okay. So you should know that the value of K must be greater than 1 to be an enlargement. All right, the scale factor. Good. And that is my solution to this past paper question. So the name of the quadrilateral, PQRS, is a trapezium, okay? And part 2 now says, determine the center of enlargement and the scale factor. The center of enlargement was negative 4, 1, where A is equal to negative 4 and B is equal to 1. All right, and we have just calculated the scale factor K to be positive 3. Okay, so that is the end of the solution for this past paper question from the January 2020 examination. All right, I hope it was helpful. If it was, please ensure to like up the video and comment down below. All right, I am Mr. Garth Reed, Student Ambassador in the University of Technology, Jamaica, and I'm a mathematics teacher in training in the School of Mathematics and Statistics. I thank you for joining.